I'm very excited today because we're going to tackle a subject which is probably, and by far actually, the question we received the most. A lot of questions said, I would love to go on that road. I would love to dress up. I would love to be at my best. But how do I start? Because people are speaking a little bit when you show up at work or at school or at college with a shirt and a tie all of a sudden. It's not that easy.
We've gotten that question, you're right, many, many times. Like, I would dress in classic style, but honestly, I don't even know where to begin. So, forget it. I don't even know where to start. It seems like too massive to take on. So our idea was to come up with a rung-by-rung approach.
You did something different today. Explain to us, what did you do?
Because we're talking about people who want to step into classic style and people that don't know where to start, I thought I would put something different on today. So I just tried a collar pin and a collar bar, some people call it. And I just wanted to do something different, to put myself in the shoes of someone out there, because it's a little awkward for me, but I like trying new things.
You mean the pin collar?
Yes, and it's a really kind of fun thing to do, to push myself so I can relate to those people out there in a very small way who want to try something new but don't know, how they're going to feel emotionally about it.
And that's the subject of today's episode. It's about what we call the Sartorial Ladder. So don't write this down because it's just an invention that we did very recently. We talk about the sartorial path or the sartorial journeys, sartorial learning curve actually since a long time. But the Sartorial Ladder is try to answer the question, dear Mr. Jacomet, dear Miss Sonya Glynn, how do we do? I'm at college, or I'm a student.
Or I'm 53 and I've never dressed up.
Exactly.
We've gotten this too.
And how do I do if one of a sudden, I love what you do, I'd like to give it a try, I like to buy a suit, I like to wear a tie, but I have the impression that if I do so, some people will laugh at me.
Yes, and in fact, some people these days, they do make little jokes about, are you going to a wedding? Are you going to a funeral? Are you going to a job interview? Are you trying to take your boss's position? There's so many. And, this is just something that we have overcome with time and that we've learned to enjoy wearing classic style. And no one says anything to us, even people that don't know us anymore. Maybe they look at us and think things, but they're not saying anything.
When we travel
Usually we get a lot
suit
of
and tie.
kind remarks. A lot.
Normally we have compliments and people say, oh, wow, it's so agreeable to have elegant people around. So, if you want to start and you don't know where to start, we listed a few items. I think it's probably, 10, 12 steps. Once again, it's just our experience, but we discussed this subject.
The idea is we want to put ourselves in your shoes and just kind of orient ourselves to a new beginning and tell you where we would start if we were you with all our experience.
And she couldn't say better because putting ourselves in your shoes is precisely where to start. But before that, I would give just a foreword and an advice. If you are really interested in the classic style, in suit and ties, in the tailoring world, start, if you have time, by reading a few books. Read Dressing the Man by Alan Flusser. You can read our books. You can read this.
We did a sartorial talk on the different books that you can read. It's easy to check it out.
And also, for example, Bernard Russell books. There's a few books that are very agreeable to read, and that will give you the first 3 or 4 ideas that you need to understand if you want to enter this world.
That makes sense.
But the first step, if I may say, is start. If you are, dressing casual in jeans and trainers, buy yourself, as a first step, a decent pair of leather shoes. Yes. It may sound a little bit simplistic, and it may sound a little bit, easy, but it can change everything because we have so many stories of people just buying. If you wear jeans, for example, buy yourself a pair of bluchers, what you call derbies, right?
Yes,
you say blucher in America?
There's a little bit of difference, but it's not significant.
That's step number one. And then step number 2, we discussed this with many of our guests here, is say, okay, now you always go outside with a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. Okay, buy yourself leather shoes. And then the next step should be buy yourself or try normal trousers. And when I say normal trousers, I say classic trousers.
Yes.
So you can go with a chino, but the chino is becoming very common. Try, for example, a beautiful flannel pair of trousers in the winter, or a cotton pair of trousers in the summer, with or without pleats, but something different than a sweatpant or a jeans. And pair this with a shirt, and specifically a button-down shirt.
And if you have the motivation, you could even make your first step into made to measure or bespoke by only ordering a pair of trousers.
Yes.
And this will give you a taste for whether you like it or not. And it's a great way to start. And it's not going to break the bank with just the trousers.
And it's not going to shock your friends either at school, at college, or your colleagues, because you just arrive. You don't have a jean for once. You just have a nice pair of flannel trousers. You'll see your silhouette's going to be immediately, specifically if you have a beautiful pair of shoes. And then just about, the button-down shirt, which is supposedly the most casual shirt. This is not a button-down shirt. A button-down shirt is a shirt we're going to show you pictures with a button
button-down
here.
collar, yes.
Exactly, a button-down collar. And this is the most casual thing. So you just show up like that with a beautiful pair of trousers, beautiful shoes, simple, a button-down shirt, and then maybe you put around your neck a sweater or something, and immediately you are somebody else.
That's right. That's right. So first, new pair of shoes. Second, real trousers and a button-down shirt with maybe button-down collar. What's next?
Number 3 would be, of course, now you're almost ready, because do this for a couple of weeks. Well, if you can buy 2 or 3 pair of trousers and a couple
maybe 2 pairs.
Yes.
Because one has to rest.
Exactly. and a few shirts also, but try this, and see if people speak. And if they speak, and I bet with you, you're going to have compliments. You're going to have, people, once you can go over most of the time, the problems you are anticipating are in your head and not in others' head. And this is true also for when you dress well. You say, what people will say about me. What you imagine they will say is sometimes much worse than what they actually say. And it's a universal law.
The truth is you usually will be showered with nice remarks.
Exactly. So then you're almost ready for the big step. And the big step is to put on a jacket.
Yes.
So you can start with what we call in the sartorial world a sport jacket. Can you define what is a sport jacket?
A sport jacket is just an odd jacket. It doesn't match your trousers. It's different from, say, a dinner jacket, which is more formal, or we say semi-formal. It's more of a jacket that you can wear in a very versatile setting.
Like a blazer, for example.
Yeah, you can say a blazer is usually blue, red, or green with the shiny buttons, whether it's a mother of pearl button or metal buttons. A sport coat, there's no button requirement. It's just an odd jacket, basically.
And that's easy to wear, but all of a sudden, good shoes, nice trousers, button-down shirt, and a sport jacket. Now we start to talk.
Absolutely. What would you buy for your first sport coat?
Me?
Would you buy a navy one? Oh, that's a blazer.
Yeah.
Then. You're recommending a blazer.
Yeah, I buy a blazer.
So remember, blazer is usually blue, bottle green.
Well, most of the time
red,
it's blue.
But most everybody gets a blue one. And you will have either shiny mother of pearl buttons, which is indicative of a blazer. You want the buttons to pop, or not literally pop, or metal buttons.
Yeah, metal buttons I think is the most easy to pull off.
Can I tell another secret?
Of course.
If you want your blazer to double as a sport coat, usually we wouldn't recommend it, but Lorenzo Cifanelli gave us this tip. Get the mother of pearl buttons on your blazer, and then it can also double if you have trousers that match as a suit.
Yeah, that's correct. But blazer for me, a blue blazer, because you can match it with, for example, a gray flannel pants. It works perfectly well.
With
and
brown,
whatever.
with blue, with everything.
So you see, there's no
black.
complication here. We speak about a nice pair of shoes, maybe. Don't start with black shoes, with a dark brown. Dark brown is the most versatile. Not light brown, dark brown shoes with a beautiful pair of flannel in gray, with one pleat if you want to be a little bit more dandy-esque, or with a flat front if you don't want, but a beautiful flannel for the winter or cotton for the summer, and then a button-down shirt and a blazer. This is very easy, and believe me, you're going to receive compliment, because this is all of a sudden you step in another world.
And you know what you're going to like the most? The thing that they're going to like the most is how easy it is to get dressed. You have 2 or 3 trousers,
Exactly.
2 shirts, 3 shirts, 2 pairs of shoes, and boom, boom, bam. I mean, you're dressed so fast in the morning if you have them all available for you. It's so good.
Actually, if I would have to buy 2 sport jackets, I would do probably, but that's my taste, huh? I would do a blazer for the winter, and I would do probably a safari jacket for the summer. You know, these jackets which are, they can look like an overshirt. I mean, they are very casual, but very chic at the same time, with multiple pockets. So it's very, very en vogue in these days, you know, because it's originally from, you know, the photographer jackets or the safari jacket in Africa.
We can show some pictures of that. But you know what I would do? I would have a navy blue for situations where I have to dress up. But I would definitely have a brown jacket because I'm not going to feel strange wearing that if I've never dressed up before. I would have like a brown, like a spring, summer, fall jacket, and then a brown
sport jacket. That's I would say the step number. I don't know if we are step number 2 or number 3. It doesn't really matter because, you know, elegance is not a destination, it's a journey. So you're going to have a lot of stuff. But let's say it was 1, 2, 3. Now let's go to step 4, and it's very simple. So you remember, nice shoes, flannel pants in winter, button-down shirt, and your blazer. Now, if you really want to step in a new world, remove the button-down, replace the button-down shirt with a dress shirt.
Yes, and I'll say button-down collar with a typical dress shirt.
Like this one.
Like yours.
This is a French color, so it's a little bit larger than the Italian color, has a tendency of going a little bit more, being a little bit more open, but this is my favorite, French color. You have an English pin color. This is a little bit different.
It's a shorter color, but it's sticking to my shirt.
Exactly.
Yours is nice because it's coming underneath.
Yes. Exactly. And this one is easy to wear without a tie. So you can wear, so you see, but that's a huge difference. Maybe it sounds weird, may sound weird to you that only when you don't have, your collar is not buttoned, but it's not the same feeling. All of a sudden you step into elegance and more formal wear when you just wear a dress shirt.
That's
under
true.
Your blazer.
And you always warn everyone not to get the little short collars when you buy your shirt.
Yes, please, 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 ladies and gentlemen, don't look at all these advertisements with the big brown, so in these super tiny colors. Stubby. This is not possible. You know, turn a real color that will go ideally under the lapel of your blazer. So, and start with 3 white shirts. And maybe a few pale blue shirts, but you'll never go wrong with
I'm trying to interject something. I'm just trying to imagine if I'm the person who's just starting out and I feel really awkward, you know what I would do?
No.
I would actually wear the shirt for a while without the jacket, roll up the sleeves just to get used to the feeling. Yep. And another secret, if you commission a jacket or you're selecting a jacket off the rack, you can look at the inner lining. I'm just going to look at your inner lining. Yours is very formal. You can get an inner lining that is less formal, more casual, and turn up the sleeves on the jacket if you want to.
I never do that, but she loves to do that.
I love to do that just to lower the tonality a little bit.
So now you progress because you have an outfit. You're still not totally in the tie world, but who would say something to you if you just have a beautiful blazer with beautiful pants, a beautiful pair of shoes, and a dress shirt? Honestly, start with, let's say, I said always start with white shirt. Well, let's put it a little bit more precise. Start with plain, solid colors at the beginning. Don't go too fast into stripes and stuff like that. Well, for me, white shirts are always a good choice, specifically with a blue blazer. Then, the next step would be you're waiting for it, huh? You sure I'm going to say add a tie? No. Start with this. Start with a little pocket square. This little thing is magical. Because you can continue going tieless. Because some people don't like to wear ties. No problem. We adore ties. But I can understand. You're not used to it. It's difficult. You have to know how to make the knots. You can feel a little bit awkward at the beginning. But a pocket square, ladies and gentlemen, it's just this. This is an handkerchief, okay? It's just this. And then you don't even have, because people say, how can you show us how to fold it? You know how I fold it? I do this, and I put it in my pocket. Like
You've done that for years, but this is a very low-key color.
Yeah.
The rust is really an amazing pocket square to start with, but you can also do a TV fold, which is just a flat white pocket square, or a beige or something more subtle.
Exactly, but
to
a
start out
pocket
with.
square costs $10, $20, maybe 30 for the most luxurious, and that, ladies and gentlemen, changes everything.
Truly.
Because now, all of a sudden, you just have a blazer, a white shirt, a good pair of pants, beautiful shoes, clean, always clean the shoes, and you just throw this. And, well, you have to be prepared, because this little object seems totally inoffensive, but it will be noticed by the people, because all of a sudden you add a little something that makes you change, step out of the crowd, literally. Is that right, darling?
That's a good way to put it, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
just with this little
and
square.
you know what? If you're feeling really awkward, just take it out and put it in your pocket.
Exactly.
It's so easy.
Exactly. So it's but pocket square, it's for me, and it took me 15 years to understand that. When I go outside without a tie, which is not frequent, but when it happens to me, I always throw a pocket square.
You do, and it's usually the rust one.
This is the love
And you
of
have
my
a
life.
lot, but you keep going back to that one.
I have two loves in my life, my wife and my rust pocket square.
Okay, that's profound.
Well, that's the truth, actually. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I may have in my closet, I would say hundreds of pocket square, but I usually wear this one because, I've been saying this many times, but rust pocket square goes with pretty much everything. So now you may be ready to maybe go to your first suit, but you were talking about getting rid of belts.
Yes, not necessarily getting rid of your belt, but if you're doing all these things, guess what can ruin it all? A contrasting color belt.
Mamma mia. This is
but
a
people
catastrophe.
don't know that because they wore a belt their whole life since they were a kid, and they don't even realize what's happening. And so the only reason I know is because I've been in this business for a decade. So if you're wearing chinos, for example, which are just a khaki color or a brown color, and you put a black belt across the pants or the trousers, you're going to have a line cutting your body into, and you won't have a free flow, elegant, we can say silhouette or outline. And so just if you have to have a belt, wear a belt that blends either with your trousers or blends with your shirt. And wow, your line is just going to flow, and you're going to get a lift in terms of elegance.
Well, you just pointed something very important, in my opinion, that just come to my mind.
Yes, what is it?
Because belt is is a major problem for elegance.
So
we have nothing against belts. I never wear belts. I prefer side adjusters or suspenders. But, I mean, for the people who are not into elegance, most of the time, belts are a catastrophe.
So the next step, I would say, once you get the belt that sort of either goes with your trousers or your shirt, the next step is try to lose the belt. Yeah. And there's a couple of options. You already said them. There's the side adjusters, which are like a built-in belt. They're very elegant and nice with some nice hardware.
And quite easy to find,
hardware
actually.
On the sides and easier to find these days. So that is like a built-in belt, which is awesome. Or if you are ready to experiment, you can go with braces or suspenders.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's a little bit later because it immediately takes you to another level, specifically when you open your blazer and people see your suspenders. But this is what we love, of course. But it's a little bit, for me, it's a little bit later. But also you can buy a flat front pair of trousers without the belt loops, right?
Yes.
And then wear it like that. It's 10 times what you got. Once again, if you are a belt crafter, a leather good maker, I'm sorry, I have to apologize, but for us, it's not very elegant. I mean, you can go after, if you are way on your way to on the Sartorial path, you can find beautiful, if you like leather belts, you can, but me, it's complex for me.
Just blend the color tones, and the belt's not so obvious.
So anyway, so get rid of your belts.
But
don't lose your trousers anyway. That's another story. So you may be ready, ladies and gentlemen, to go to step number 6, I think, is switch to your first suit. So the first suit, it can be, because you understand the process. Maybe we are 6 months later. People now are used to see you with a blazer or a sports jacket.
It's not a shock now.
And a button-down shirt, then a dress shirt, and a pocket square. Just go slowly, and little by little, you'll see that people will be used to that. And one day, you show up in a suit. Of course, you have to start. Don't go too fast. Don't go directly with a pinstripe like me, something really strong. What do you buy as a first suit? Single-breasted?
Well, we do have a show on that, but yes, a single-breasted blue or gray.
Yes.
And I would add brown if you're really shy.
Wow.
I can't help it. Mm-hmm. So yes, this is where you start. You did a great episode on that.
Exactly. So a solid color, 2 buttons suit, the classic thing, notch lapel, nothing spectacular, but the fact that you will all of a sudden coordinate your pair of trousers with your jacket, that is the same fabric, makes it a suit.
It does.
And what I really advise you is don't go too fast. You don't need to put a tie on immediately. You can wear it with an open shirt, a little pocket square, a beautiful pair of shoes. Oh, and a beautiful pair of socks also, actually.
Yes,
we forgot socks. It can be
we have an episode on socks that really goes into what you can play with.
But socks can be very interesting also.
Very interesting.
More than you can imagine.
True.
Because people can see your socks more often than you can even believe. So anyway.
Well, before you go on, I'm a little extreme with trying to make people feel comfortable.
Okay.
Because that's the only way, if you feel comfortable, it's the only way you're going to really do this, right? No one wants to go out and feel awkward. So I would say don't button your jacket at first.
Yes.
Keep the jacket open.
Yeah.
Don't even button it at all. Because normally the etiquette is you would keep your jacket buttoned, and then when you sit down, you would unbutton your jacket. And then when you stand, you would button your jacket back. But I say be cool and calm and natural. Just leave the jacket on.
By the way, in the UK, the etiquette is a little bit more precise. You have the right to unbutton your jacket when you are inside.
Oh, is that right?
And you have to be buttoned when you are outside. But the UK people, they are very tough
Didn't
on
know
rules.
that.
Yeah. So it's inside you. It's totally okay to unbutton it. But if you start, you can be comfortable. That's the whole idea. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it might be the most difficult step to take is to put on, yes, you heard it, a tie.
Yes.
And this is where most of the time, this is one of the most difficult steps for many, many, many people for different reasons.
Listen, I'm a woman, and most women don't wear neckties. I don't that often, but I do occasionally. So if I can do it, you guys can do it. And I feel completely comfortable now when I wear
I must admit, I love Sonya when she's wearing a tie. I love her all day long, but when she wears a tie, I feel that there's something, is such of a flair for me, like Marlene Dietrich.
You're very kind.
In the 1930s, 1940s, which was not unusual for women
Josephine
to wear
Baker.
a tie. Josephine Baker, of course. So buy your first tie. Well, I would, if you have you remember you have your blazer, so you don't have to go with your suit immediately. Try with your blazer, put a regimental tie, for example. That's easy. A striped tie.
Because solid on solid can be a little boring, but it can also be fine.
Yep.
But if you want to go with the pattern, the regimental is fantastic as a start. And may I add something?
Of course.
So, for example, when I tied this tie, I would normally say do the 4-in-hand at first. Today, I tied this tie with a 4-in-hand, and it was so minuscule that it looked ridiculous. So I think you need to know at least two forms or two methods of tying a tie. First is 4-in-hand, and second, for me, is half Windsor. You do Old Birdie, but you need to just know two methods, one with a smaller knot and one that provides a little more bulk. This is a half Windsor, although it looks like a 4-in-hand.
Yes, and because she just told you the truth, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to wear a tie, you have to study how to tie a tie.
4-in-hand is so easy.
Yeah, this is so easy, but please don't buy automatic ties with some kind of elastic. These are for kids. And buy a normal tie. So I think the good advice is regimental ties, striped ties like that is very, very easy to pair with a blazer. It will go very well with a simple blue suit, but you have to be ready. This is the step where you're going to receive these remarks from your friends, because a tie is less and less usual, but you will see it will not last long and you will harvest a lot of compliments.
That's true, but I have to say wearing a regimental tie is a different experience from wearing pattern ties. It feels really cool to put on a regimental tie. You know, I just can't even put it into words. Like you feel like you are maybe a little bit prep, but a little bit suave, a little more relaxed, a little more approachable. Yeah. The regimental tie is super cool.
And rep tie, also we call it rep tie, also regimental tie, is very interesting because you can also wear it a little with you don't have to tie it really to the top like I do. You can wear it more loose,
more relaxed,
and it works very well also with button-down shirts. Actually,
right.
So
you do have to pay attention if you go to a vintage store and get a rep tie or any type of tie that might belong to an institution,
or a club,
a university, a club. That can be very offensive to some people. So try to get more the ties that aren't associated with any kind of group.
I give you a little bit of education on that, but you don't need to know all this if you're at this stage, but it's funny to know. Okay, the UK etiquette for a regimental tie is that normally the stripe goes on your left shoulder. And don't ask me why. Brooks Brothers, back in their 50s, they decided, and it was kind of a marketing gesture, to do it on your right shoulder. So normally we can spot.
It's rising towards your left shoulder.
This one is
rising
on my
towards
left.
the left. And then Brooks Brothers, it was rising toward the right.
Well, now we can say most of UK or European ties are rising to your left shoulder, and most of American ties are rising to your right shoulder.
So what does the UK say?
Well, but the thing is that the law before, the rule before was that some ties are really connected with army or corps or
university,
gentlemen clubs,
Ivy League, I should...
cricket clubs, this kind of thing. So be careful when you buy a tie that you don't buy something which normally is supposedly reserved for some people,
which you
member
can
of the
do if you're
clubs.
vintage shopping. So
so you have to be careful with that. But just regimental tie is a great buy. Then you may be ready for the next step, which is now you can maybe step into another world altogether, which is a patterned suit. So what would you advise for a pattern suit?
Well, for a pattern suit, let's go with something super classic. Either one of two things: Glen plaid, which is has a rich history, is a very muted pattern.
Yeah, we call it Prince of Wales now, which is a little bit an abuse of language because Prince of Wales is one kind of Glen plaid. Actually.
It is. This is a very, I guess I would say, elegant choice.
Yes.
And it's muted, so you're not going to shock anybody with the pattern. Or you could go with the pinstripe.
Like me today. This is a tennis stripe. No, this is a pinstripe.
Some pinstripes can be very subtle and very easy to wear, and nothing that will shock anybody.
I agree with you. Glen plaid. So you see, we're going to show you pictures of that. Glen plaid it's called Glen Urquhart. It can be called Prince of Wales. There's a lot of different kinds, but the idea is some kind of a square and lines that are intricated together. It can be very strong or very muted.
I think there's a little houndstooth worked in there. There's
exactly.
different patterns.
It's a very interesting pattern, but it's the next step. And then probably a striped suit. Like, okay, the one I have is kind of strong, but you can have, for example, blue on blue. Tennis. That is very interesting. So that's the next step for us. But you understand that. If we rewind a little bit, blazer, sport jacket, then solid suit, and then only a pattern suit. You have to go little by little. But when you reach this stage, honestly, I suppose you start to be quite comfortable. But for that, you will have to learn a few rules, and specifically how to mix patterns. Because when you start to wear patterns, either on your suits or on your shirts and on your ties, you have to learn a few rules. And there are, two rules that are important to remember. We've been repeating the same rule over and over again, but they are very easy to remember.
Okay, the first is very easy to explain. If you're wearing the same pattern, for example, Hugo's wearing stripes and stripes, he's just making sure the stripes are distanced apart differently on, let's say, a different scale.
A different scale.
This stripe looks like, if I do the English system, I would say that's about 1 inch apart from this stripe to this stripe. But let's move over to the tie. The tie, let's widen that. It's a 1.5 inch apart each stripe. So you have stripes, but on different scales.
Different sizes.
Yes.
It's very easy. Small stripes on your jacket, big stripes on
That's
your...
the next element. The
Exactly.
size of the stripes themselves can be different.
Because it's easy to understand. If I was wearing, with this striped suit, a tie with little stripes, it would be almost, you would need some kind of sunglasses to look at me. It would be too busy, because this will go in competition with that. So same pattern, different size.
It's
very
true.
easy.
And for those of you who really want to push it far, on our Instagram, Parisian_gentleman and Sonya Glenn, we have where we've been combining 3 stripes
Yes.
together, and you wouldn't know it except that we told you.
Yeah, and 3 stripes together means 3 different scales. It's very
Exactly.
easy. And then the reverse rule, I don't like the word rule, but this one really, really works. So it works the same for checks. If you have a checked big window pane checks, square window pane squares jacket, you can wear a small micro check shirt. It works very well. Same pattern, different scales.
And people don't even
sizes.
understand how it's all blending together. It
Yes.
doesn't register that you're wearing the same pattern.
But this is very important, because if you start to master these few rules, it's very interesting. And so the reverse is also true. If you want, for example, to wear 2 different patterns, that is to say, here I only have 1 pattern. But if you want, for example, let's say you want to have a check jacket and you want to have a polka dot tie. Yes. In this case, it's better to have the same scale. Small check, small polka dots. Big check, big polka dots. It's very easy to understand. So you remember, same pattern, different scales, different patterns, same scale. It's so easy. But this, ladies and gentlemen, this, you can write it down. It'll change everything.
Makes it so much easier to get dressed.
Exactly. And people will not understand why you look so good, so elegant, so well dressed with just mastering these simple rules. So now...
Are we going to the final rung of the ladder?
Well, we're almost there, because, now you have 2 rows in front of you. If you are able to pull off single-breasted suits patterned, of course, blazer, solid color, then pattern color. If you start to know how to blend the colors out, there's 2 ways that are open for you. The double-breasted way,
yes,
or the 3-piece way.
So it's a fork in the road.
Yes.
The right is the double-breasted route. The left is a 3-piece route.
I love both.
Choose your direction. Well, you can't do both at the same time.
No, yeah, I mean...
So which fork you're going, right or left, or
Yeah.
you can change the directions around if those right and left has meaning for you.
The problem with double-breasted is the cut has to be perfect, because otherwise it can become very quickly some kind of... something is really off when the double-breasted
Okay,
is
when
not
you
really
gained
cut.
weight, you just had to open it. And then when you lost weight, you just closed it back.
Yeah. You're telling my life, darling.
Yeah, but why not?
Yeah,
It's true, real life.
Yeah, and I remember doing a show to say, it's totally okay to wear your double-breasted open even when you stand. Well, the truth is that I couldn't button it. This is why I invented this rule. Because at one moment in the sartorial past, you are creating your own rules, because now you free. When you master the pattern suit, when you master that, you free, and you are now accepted around you. And you know what? You're gonna create vocation. You're gonna inspire other people, and this is something we see everywhere, even in small group of people. When one person take this sartorial path, it happens very often that somebody else is following. So you have the double-breasted on one side, and then the 3-piece. Okay, I like both now. I can wear a 3-piece suit, that is to say a jacket, a pair of trousers.
You look great in a 3-piece suit.
And
really
a vest. You say a vest in the US, a waistcoat?
You can say, in England they say waistcoat, or in the United Kingdom.
And you say vest.
And then, Americans say vest. Too.
Okay. So, but it's something that can really, like the double-breasted, by the way, you go in another level of the ladder, you close to the top of the ladder, because 3-piece is immediately a declaration of style.
Yes, and that waistcoat is going to open up your universe for being able to make different combinations and create more outfits.
Yes.
And this is the beauty of the three-piece suit.
And three-piece suit so can be totally coordinated. We call it the ditto suit, right? Is that correct?
Yes, if everything is the same fabric, we call that a ditto suit, which means jacket, vest, trousers, all the same fabric. And we will say in your first suit, try to get a 3-season suit. Don't buy your first suit a summer suit or a winter suit, because then what are you going to do when the weather changes?
Exactly.
So that's something I wanted to throw in. But we're in the three-piece suit.
Yeah.
And you said all the same fabric is a ditto suit.
Yeah.
If you have an odd waistcoat.
This is for me the next step on the ladder.
You're doing it very
easily.
It's an odd waistcoat. I have so many waistcoats.
I never did this in my life.
You never did, no.
No, I just realized it.
I know.
Sonya, she's doing this almost daily. My friend Lorenzo Cifanelli is the master of that.
Oh, yeah. So
and then, so when you have this kind of gray vest, what's the name? Pearl gray?
Well, there's a dove gray. And then there's a buff yellow. Those are for when you want to dress up.
Yeah.
You can put those two with a navy suit and
they work with everything.
Wow, yes, it's really taking it up to the next level in terms of formality. Or you can just buy regular vests and mix it up just for fun, low key. There's remember when I talked about what women want in terms of how men dress, meaning women who like classic style. It goes through all the different types.
Yes, it's an episode called What Women Think, actually, on Sartorial Talks. But the problem is that now our channel starts to have more than 100 videos.
Usually we don't do all these references.
Yes, and sometimes people, they don't have the time to see all the episodes, so it's sometimes good to repeat the thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you're at that level, of course, now the sky is the limit. You can work with different kind of shoes, different kind of models of shoes. You can go to the double monks, to the loafers. You can play a lot with that. Okay, the only thing is that it's very addictive and it's not super good for your bank account. But this side of...
But it makes it really easy to get dressed. Like me, when I get dressed, what do? I just walk in the closet and start pulling things out and seeing what goes with whatever I pulled out.
Exactly. So now when you are here, the sky is the limit. You can work with jewelry. You can add accessories. You can have tie pin, tie bars, jewelry, lapel pins. You can change your glasses, and everything becomes a game, basically, and pleasure. So, but let's wrap up. Remember, it's a ladder. It's not that complicated. So first of all, buy yourself a pair of
shoes,
good decent shoes. Leather shoes.
Yes.
Number 2. Buy yourself a beautiful pair of trousers and a shirt.
Well, maybe with a button-down collar.
Exactly. I think it's the
Keep
best
it more
option.
low-key.
Exactly. So, number 3, add a sport jacket or a blazer or a safari jacket, something easy.
Maybe blue if you're really willing to go tackle it, and then something more muted if you're really awkward, feeling shy.
Then number 4, add a dress shirt. That is to say, not only the button-down collar shirt, but this kind of dress shirt that you can wear tieless with your blazer. A white shirt with a blazer works formidably well.
Light blue, but make sure you don't get a stubby collar.
Exactly.
Get a good collar.
Exactly. Then number 5, and for me this is the magic, where the magic starts to really operate is when you are able to throw a handkerchief, a pocket square in your breast pocket. That's the moment you switch to another world. And it's very discreet, it doesn't cost much, but you become somebody else.
If you're terrified of the pocket square, look up the white TV fold, and maybe that's something you can start out with.
Yeah, but literally, believe me, ladies and gentlemen, believe me, just throw a pocket square. Don't even think twice.
Take
just
Hugo's
throw
advice.
It. Yeah,
Try
it's
it.
very easy. Then number 6, you might be ready. Of course, get rid of belts, or at least get rid of contrasted belts.
Yeah, contrasting belts, if you love belts.
It's not really beautiful. It's never elegant if you contrast.
Just let the belt blend with your trousers
Exactly.
or your shirt or your jacket.
Exactly. So number 6, you may be ready now to switch to your first suit and maybe to your first tie. So start with a solid color suit, blue or gray, and with a regimental tie. This is the easiest tie to pair.
It's fantastic.
It works with everything.
So nice.
Okay. Then you might be ready, next step, to go to the pattern suit. That is to say, either a stripe or a glen plaid, this Prince of Wales, very beautiful. If you are not too sure of yourself, start with muted patterns, then you're gonna quickly become used to it, and you're gonna go. It works like that.
Go with your taste, exactly.
With bolder patterns, because the more you progress, the more you can be bold. Of course.
Right.
Then, of course, you have to study the pattern rules. You have to, this kind of scales. If you have the same pattern, different scale, this kind of thing, which are very important. And then you arrive at the road. Remember, the wine lovers will understand what I say. And if you like Tuscany wine, I remember one day with our friend and photographer Lyle Roblin, that many people know here, we did the Italian Gentleman book together. And one moment we wanted to buy some wine in Tuscany. And I remember we arrived, and I have this image in my head. I didn't take a picture because sometimes mental images are more powerful. They're stronger and powerful than taking pictures of everything. And I remember on the left it was written Montepulciano, and on the right it was written Montalcino.
And that sign is burned into my brain.
Oh my gosh.
And we just all quit breathing for about 5 seconds because we didn't know which way to go.
Yeah, because if you are into wine, you know that the Vino Nobile di Montepulciano is a fantastic wine, but the Brunello di Montalcino is another fantastic wine. And so my heart was divided. And so when you are here, sartorially speaking, and you have on your left the double-breasted suit, or on your right the three-piece suit, then it means that you can choose. But you know what you're going to do? Like we did. You go to Montalcino first, and then you drive to Montepulciano to taste both wines. And then from here, the sky is the limit, and the sartorial world is yours. So I hope that with Sonya, we gave you a little bit of, once again, it's just our experience. It's what with all the mistakes we made, I think if we accumulate our sartorial experience together, it's probably more than 25 years, something like that. So we hope you're going to embrace, and please remember one thing, it has to remain a pleasure. And if you want to go faster, that's what we described. You can jump in your suit directly and go to college.
It's all a matter of if you feel comfortable.
Exactly.
If you feel comfortable, go for it. Don't hold back. But if you feel awkward, then take tiny steps till you get there where you want to be.
Yes, but all the time, remember something is just a matter of, I like this idea of to be progressive. Even me, when I started, I didn't go directly, to the top of the ladder.
Because you do learn more if you take one step at a time.
Exactly.
That's
and
right.
you save yourself a lot of, stupid jokes.
And rebuying.
And stupid jokes and the gaze of others. But at one moment, you will just, you attract the right gaze and not the wrong one. That's a universal law too. So we hope it was a good episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Of course, we have many, many episodes on all this where we can deep dive into the blazers, into the sport jacket, into how to build your wardrobe. But we wanted to do in one episode, that was a difficult exercise, how to climb the sartorial ladder. We hope you enjoyed it, and we give you an appointment to the next episode of Sartorial Talks. Bye-bye, darling.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers everybody.
Everyone.